Hello, everyone. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. My name is Marcel Lamkowski. I am the data application architect at FSC. And today I'm here with my colleagues from Congruent India, Siva, Vishal, and Karpagavalli. And we are doing this live section to answer some questions about our hackathon. So the main point today, our objective here is just to present how our support process will be done during the hackathon. And we are also going to cover some questions that during this week and last week, participants added to our Slack channel. And also in the last 2 points, we are going to present some new content about how to extend the solutions and release note details. So basically, if you have any questions during the presentation, you can use the chat box here on Twitch, or you can use the form link that we share on the Slack channel, and then we will be able to answer these questions to you. And of course, if we don't have enough time to answer the questions, or if you need to look a little bit deeper to reply to you, we are going to add the answers on the Slack channel as well. Okay, so basically, let's start. How this support process is going to work during the hackathon. Okay, our main channel is the Slack channel. We are using the Slack platform as the main platform to answer questions from participants. So if you have any questions, if you are looking for support, if you have any requests, you can do it using our Slack channel, DocuSign2020.slack.com. So here's a quick diagram on how the process is going to work. So the participants, they will insert these questions, these requests on our Slack channel. And the first part, I will check those requests. And if it's something that we can answer right away, if it's not necessary to research something, or if it's not necessary any advanced technical details, I will reply right back to you. And if there's a case that some technical issues are related to CRM or APIs or data or to dynamics or anything, then I will get this question and send it to our partners from Congruent, and they will analyze the issue and reply back to the Slack channel. So from what I could see this week, everything was working fine. I think we covered all the questions. And as I mentioned, we chose some to present in this webinar today. So, okay, we had one issue that was raised from two participants that they were getting this message, request not processed, when they try to access their Dynamics trial instance, okay? So basically, this is an issue related to something, some step that you missed during the creation of the Dynamics trial instance. So what we can advise you to do is to take notes on your user ID and password, the same user ID and password that you created while you're doing the process to create the trial instance. And when you try to access the domain that you created, for example, your domain.crm4.dynamics.com, it should go directly to your Dynamics environment. In some cases, it just asks you for you to confirm the username and the password. And the other point is that you can access homes.dynamics.com, and the option Sales Hub, as you can see in this screen, should be there, should be available for you. So you can see here, Sales Hub. And in this screen, I also have the hackathon, the solution that I have imported that we created last week during our presentation, right? So basically, just when you are doing this process of creating your trial instance on Dynamics, try to follow the same steps that we showed in the last week presentation. If you still don't, if you still haven't watched it, we have available on the Twitch channel as well, so you can just follow the steps. And also we have a technical guide available for you with screenshots and a step-by-step guide on how to create this trial instance. Okay, so just make sure to not miss any step, and you should have no problems with that. So you should not have problem with this request, not the processed error. So we had some questions about the resources for developers, the resources for participants, especially resources number 2 and resources number 4. Okay, resource number 2 is the FSC certificate management schema, and the resource number 4 is the FSC requirements schema. Okay, those schemas were presented in the technical guide that we provided to you, to all the participants. And I think from what I saw here is that we present in the technical guide those two schemas separated. But for the hackathon proposal, it will be imported as just one single schema. Yeah? For FSC, for our reality inside FSC today, those are two separated databases, but for the hackathon proposals, we are providing you just one file, one solution file with those two schemas in it. So if you go to this page, DocuSign 2020.devpost.com/details/FSC, you will see the main resources that we are giving to the participants, that we provide to the participants. So you have the FSC challenge and details, yes, where we are explaining all the apps, app 1, 2, and 3, what we expect from every app. Then we have a technical guide, as you can see here as resource number 2. And then you have 3 folders, 3 Google Drive folders, app 1 pre-assessment folder, app 2 qualification folder, and app 3 remote audit folder. The questions that came about resources 2 and 4, they are related to this app 1 pre-assessment folder. So if you go to this URL and then you access this folder, you will see 2 folders inside, one conditions for remote audit, and then you can see right next to it R2 and R4, resource 2 and resource 4, the solution import and data import. Inside this folder, you will find 3 files, okay? The certificate schema data, FSC hackathon 1.zip, and standard schema data.zip. For the hackathon proposals, both schemas that we present on the technical guide, the certificate management schema and the FSC requirements schema, they are inside this FSC hackathon _managed.zip. Okay, so this is the solution file, and those 2 other files are related to the data that you need to import to the solutions. Okay, so as you can see here in the middle of screen, you have the solutions file, the zip file, and then you have a file for the standards schema and the second file for the certificate schema. And inside those 2 files, you will find CSV, separated values files that you should import to each entity after you created the solution in Dynamics. Yeah. If you have any questions or if you have any doubts on how to create the solution and then how to import the data, please check our presentation from last week. We have here on the Twitch channel, we provided some step-by-step on how to do it, and also you can find it the technical guide. But basically, as I mentioned, the FSC hackathon.zip file is the solution, the both schemas are there, and then you have 2 separated files for the schema to import data for the schemas, 1 CSV file per entity. So I think this cover one point that was mentioned during this week in the Slack channel. Also, we have some questions. I added 2 points here related to our chain of custody certification. One very important question is someone asked about the FSC certifications, because I think this person mentioned the forest management certification and the chain of custody certification. And I can say that the hackathon is focused only on the chain of custody certification. You don't need to worry about any other certificate that FSC works with. We are focusing on this certification only. Okay, you can see that on the official document from the hackathon and also in the technical guide. And you can consider chain of custody as the path taken by a forest product from the forest to the final consumer. Okay, so consider the supply chain. You have a lot of operation, processing, manufacturing, distribution, and you have several kinds of companies involved in this process, in this supply chain. So we are working with this certification only. Of course, you have different kinds of organizations, and they can apply for FSC certification during this process. Every company inside the supply chain can apply for a certification, right? And then we have one interesting questions about the COC company's location, because if you check the FSC challenge details document, in pages 5 and 7, we have some sayings that we assume that COC company sites are located in Brazil, China, or Germany. And then someone asked, okay, are COC companies only located on these 3 countries? Of course, no, we have COC companies located in several places around the world, but for the hackathon proposal, we are using these 3 countries just to simplify the scenario. Okay, so it's not that the companies will be only in these 3 countries for FSC reality. We are just providing a simplified scenario for the hackathon. And okay, so right now I'm going to hand over to my colleague. I think it will be Vishal, who is going to answer some questions that are presented in the Slack platform. And then after we cover all the points, we will check the chat box if we have some questions here. Okay, so Vishal.
Yeah, thank you, Marcelo. Hello, everyone. This is Vishal, and we are going to cover a few questions from Slack over here within these slides. So, first question is from Gautam. So, this question is about whether the app should be created in Dynamic 365 only, or we can create it on other platforms and just fetch information from Dynamic using API calls. So my answer to this question is, as far as the application development is concerned, participants can choose any platform for the development of application, and it's just that they need to use Dynamics as the core application, meaning they can consider the Dynamics as their database, basically, where they can find the base schema provided by FSC in the form of a dynamic solution, as Marcelo explained. And in order to use the Dynamics for any kind of operations, participants need to use the APIs of that Dynamics and exposed by the Dynamics. And we have already covered on how to consume the APIs of Dynamics in earlier webinar. So if you guys have missed it, we have already shared a link, and also that link is shared by Marcelo on the Slack channel as well. So you guys can find the link over there and can watch the earlier webinar for that. Yeah, Marcelo, can we have next slide, please? Okay, so the second question is from Pranesh, and this question is about I'm reading just the question. Is there a requirement of registration and authentication of users in application 1 company pre-assessment? So My answer to this question would be no, because I mean, if you are really thinking that you would be designing some web interface to capture the COC company information, that is nothing but we can say it as a registration process. And further, if you are planning to provide or create some credentials for them using which they are going to log into the system, which we generally call it as an authentication process, then participants can do these things on their own as an additional thing. But from the FSC standpoint, this is not required, or this is not a mandatory. So that is my opinion on this question. Thank you, Pranesh, for this question. Can we have next slide, Marcelo? Okay, so in this slide, we'll be covering in like what all the steps need to follow to upload the solution or make the solution available for other teams or developers. And so before that, I'll tell you about creating the solution in Dynamics. Regarding creation of solution, we recommend to create a new solution in Dynamics by following the proper naming conventions. We also strongly recommend to have all your customization changes or fields created as a new field, or the customizations whatever you have done within Dynamics. This should be done in this newly created solution, so that this solution you can export and upload, or maybe you can submit this further to FSC at the last step. So also, while exporting the solution, we strongly recommend to export the solution as a managed solution, so that no one can make any changes within that solution after importing the solution to their environments. So yeah, we are strongly recommend to have the solution as a managed solution while exporting. So that's all. I just wanted to tell you guys about the solution and import and export of solution. For more information about these things, you can refer the technical guide document, where you can find the detailed documentation on solution creation as well as import and export. After that, coming towards this slide, so we'll be covering on solution exchange process, how it will going to be. So for that, team has to upload their solution once it is ready with all the customizations and fields newly created, or the changes whatever they have done. Then participants need to upload this solution on the specific folder which is assigned to them, and this folder are on the cloud, maybe on a Google Drive or OneDrive or anything like that. So after that, they can find the subfolders within their folder. The subfolders would be app 1, app 2, and app 3. So whatever application the team is working on, they need to upload their solution within respective folders along with the release note. Regarding the release note, we'll be looking into it in the next slide. So okay, after that, as soon as the solution file is uploaded, the team has to communicate the same on the Slack channel, so that everyone would get notified about the uploaded solution file. And then the FSC, I mean, once the solution is uploaded, the FSC team will start verifying the customization and the changes made in the solution by functional standpoint of an application. So if FSC team finds that the solution is functionally relevant, then further the solution will be passed to congruent team to verify the solution technically, meaning that the first on the first step, the solution would be verified functionally, and if it is functionally relevant, then it is passed to congruent team to verify the solution technically. uh, congruent team after that will do the technical impact analysis of the solution uploaded in order to check whether this solution is good for other teams to integrate or not. And if congruent team also finds that the solution is okay for others to integrate, then this solution would be published and made available for the rest of the teams, and the same would be communicated by congruent team on the Slack channel, so that again everyone would get notified about this publishing of the solution. And finally, the team who wants the solution to integrate with their application, they can read the release note and decide whether the solution is usable for them or not, and accordingly they can integrate the solution by importing the solution in their environment. Okay, can we have next slide, Marcelo? Yeah, so as we can see here, the release note will have the release version, so that the solution can be properly maintained, version wise. So the versioning must be there, and participants need to mention the release version while creating the release note for the solution. After that, team details will have all the team details like team members and related things. And after that, a brief description on the functional impact of the changes made. So whatever the changes or the customizations done by the team, that they have to describe it on the next point. And finally, the release note should contain the information about extension of any existing schema, meaning whatever the existing schema FSC has provided. So extension to that schema, that means if they have created any entity or table to accommodate the transactions of particular operation by including some foreign keys from the existing schema, then this need to be described over here in this release note. And finally, the purpose of this release note is nothing but anyone can have an idea just by reading this release note whether to use this solution or not. So that's all the purpose of this release note. Okay, that's it from my side. Or handing over to Marcelo.
Okay. Thank you, Vishal, for your answers. Thank you for our collaboration during this presentation. Right now, I see here on the chat box that we have two questions. Yeah. One question came through the form for the Tech Hub form from Yuri. He said, in app one, we have a section called communicate. We have this communicate feature requirement, and he's asking if can it be implemented by a third-party chat widget, a not open source one. If you check the documentation, we have this communicate part that says upon the submission, it's expected that the certificate body will discover some immediate clarification needs, and it's necessary some additional documentation. If it's necessary, a communication channel for them to formally exchange the material submitted. Yuri, about your question, I will check because as I understood here, you intend to use a third-party chat widget, a not open-sourced one. We had no details about that on our document, but just to make sure if we have something that prohibits that or if it's allowed, I will check with FSC, and then I will let you know. I will post the answer to your question in the Slack channel as well. I'd like to check with my partners from Congruent if you have any details about using third-party chat widgets that are not open sourced. Does any of you know about it? So, yes, so basically, I think it's better to check if we have something that can allow or not. So every question that we have here on the chat box and every question that came to the form, we are going to add to the Slack channel. It's our main communication channel with the participants. And then we have one second question from Gabriela Oliveira. Yes, pretty common name on my home country. She's asking about user experience point of view. She says, my question is from user experience point of view. I would like to research from chain of custody certification holders. How was the process from requesting a certification before, and how we could improve the process for them, since they will be the ones interacting with the application. Do you know how can I find these companies and people responsible for requesting this certification? Yeah, Gabriela, as you know, as we mentioned in our first document, this process it was only an in-person process. We never had like any application to do it. We have this challenge of doing remote audits from now. So I can see that here that you're expecting to know more about the process. You want to get information from certificate holders on how the process happened in the past, and if they had like any difficult, what can be improved, and then you want to apply it in the app, right? I can check also with FSC if we can provide contact from a company or from a person, sorry, responsible for requesting the certificate. And also what we can do, we can work on a document and also provide this document to you detailing how this process happened in the past, right? But also we can check if we can put some comments about certificate holders, if they can put their own point of views there for you, so you can work in this user experience point of view. Okay, so this is one thing that we are also going to add to the Slack channel for you. And also this one probably will be a new resource in one of those folders that we are providing a resource to you. Okay, yeah, I think it's great that you're worried about user experience. Of course, we want to make these applications. We want these applications to be as clear as possible for the users, easy to use and efficient. So thank you for pointing that out. So we are going to start compile something for you, Gabriela. Okay. Okay, so I see that we have only these two questions. As I mentioned, we are going to add content to this related to these questions on the Slack channel. You can continue using the Slack channel. You have their FSC Tech Guide channel that you can use. I'm monitoring so we are trying to cover the points that you mentioned there to answer your questions as quick as possible. As I presented the process, if it's something that demands more advanced knowledge, or if we need to take a deeper look on it, we will do it and then provide you a proper answer to your question. And also you have some channel there about DocuSign APIs, and then you have, of course, the general channel. You have one for finding teammates. Yeah, it's pretty important for this hackathon as well. And so continue using the channel. Next week at the same time, we will have another section like this one to cover questions. So feel free to send your requests, your requests for support, or your questions using the Google Forms that we can cover during these presentations. Okay. So I think that's it for today. So I think we can finish this presentation. I hope we could cover all your questions here, and see you guys next week. Thank you once again. Have a good morning, a good afternoon, or a good evening wherever you are. So thank you.